Greetings, everyone, and welcome. risiOS is a very young Fedora-based system with friendly onboarding and web app integration. Today, let's go on a deeper dive into this Linux distro using a modern laptop, the latest Lenovo Yoga 6 with a Ryzen 7 5700U that I picked up a few days ago, right after this. I downloaded the latest 37.1.1 ISO and copied it to a Ventoy USB stick. I then turned off Secure Boot in the BIOS and attached the HDMI video out connection to a 1080p capture card. We are now ready to boot up the laptop. I'm mirroring the display over HDMI, and it says, "Welcome to Fedora, welcome to risiOS." Okay, so let's go to Settings first. Make this hopefully a little more legible for you guys. Go to Accessibility. I'll turn on large text, and I'll make the mouse pointer a little bigger with the medium-sized cursor. Okay, let's launch the terminal and make that font a little bigger. So that's, I think, Risi Fetch there, so you can tell what we're running. And so what I want to do is I want to show you the proc CPU info. So we've got 16 cores here, authentic AMD. Virtualization is enabled. Everything is there. So let's go to LSPCI. And to make things a little faster, the shipped Hynix SSD card is a bit slow, so I put in a Sabrent Rocket instead. Make things a little faster today. So I swapped out the SSD. And also the as-shipped Realtek 8852 is only supported in kernel 6.2 and up. So I replaced it with the Intel AX211, which is supported from 5.1 kernel onward. So just those two modifications I did for this laptop, so we have hopefully a smooth sailing today. All right, so LSUSB shows, in addition to everything else, we've got a, typical for Lenovo, a Shenzhen Goodix technology fingerprint reader. Goodix doesn't provide Linux drivers, probably never will. It's fine by me. I will never use fingerprint readers anyway. LuxVision's Innotech Limited Integrated RGB camera is the integrated webcam, 1080p. Works fairly well in Linux. I have no problems to report to you on that front. So just letting you know what's built in this Lenovo's Yoga 6 laptop. So in terms of sleep states supported, it's S0, S4, and S5. So we've got only S2 idle available in Linux, which is fine in this case. We only at sleep state 8 to 10% battery drain per day. So you get up to 10 days of battery life just sleeping. This is great. Free.h shows we've got 1 gigs of RAM used in this setup environment. LSBLK shows the Rocket, Sabrent Rocket 4 not having a partition at all, any partitions, so we're ready to install. That's going to be our target disk. So we'll go ahead and click Install to hard drive. And there it is. Welcome to risiOS 37, which is the Fedora Anaconda installer. Good. English, US is correct. I enabled Wi-Fi, connected to my Wi-Fi account, so that time zone is correct. There's our Sabrent Rocket that we want to partition, configure, and install to. So I'll just select Custom and then Done. Then click here to create them automatically. So that gives you the ButterFS layout. So we're going to do the Ubuntu layout for time shift installation. So I'm going to modify the name at home for the home subvolume, and instead of root, I'll just put an at as the name for the root subvolume, btrfs subvolumes respectively. So you can see this will make it compatible with timeshift. So if we click done, we get a summary of changes. This looks good to me. Yeah, Sabrent Rocket is about twice as fast as the shipped Hynix SSD drive that comes with this laptop. So I'll make this video as fast as possible for you guys. All right, but the Hynix drive works fine. It's just a bit slower. All right, so we're done with the installation. So I'll click Finish here. And before we reboot, let me go back to the terminal here because I need to make some fixes. This is true for any Fedora spin that I install, regardless of hardware. So the installed system is in /mount/sysroot. So let me go there and let me edit some files. First off is the file system table, sudo nano etc file system table or fstab. And so vanilla Fedora enables compression on btrfs. So let me fix that by putting in no access time and compress equals z standard level 1 or :1. So that minimizes, those two options minimize the writes to my precious SSDs. You won't need to do this for a spinning hard drive, but I'm surprised that risiOS doesn't enable compression by default. Maybe somebody in the comment section below can clue us in. I'd be very curious. I just don't know why. So glad checked. So going forward, for any additional software, it's compressed on the fly, but the installed system is not compressed. That's okay. Let's fix DNF, make it a little faster. So what I like to do is enter max_parallel_downloads equals 10. So we have 10 simultaneous package DNF downloads, which makes better use of our network connection. I don't use fastest mirror because that depends strongly on where you are in the world. Sometimes it can be faster, sometimes slower. Speaking of networking, if I type ping Cloudflare 1.1.1.1, you can see we've got quite a bit of variation in the round trip times of the packages here, from in the teens milliseconds up to 82 milliseconds. So let's see if we can fix that by doing sudo nano etc network manager conf.d Wi-Fi -powersave -off.conf. I find if I turn off power saving in my Wi-Fi card, it doesn't have really an effect on the battery that I can see. But if I turn the Wi-Fi power saving off, this will make the connection a lot more consistent, at least with my Wi-Fi infrastructure. So Wi-Fi.powersave equals 2 turns the Wi-Fi power saving off. You can look at the Arch Wiki or other wikis, Linux wikis, to figure out what the various values are for power saving. So let's power the machine off. So we're done. And let's reboot. I'm mirroring a drive, so let me drag from the primary display to the secondary, which goes to my capture card, the setup screen. There's a minimize button here. Ooh, that makes it disappear entirely. Yeah, suggestion to the risiOS team, development team, get rid of that minimize button. I wouldn't have it there, especially if you're trying to target this distro to beginners. All right, that's just a suggestion. Let's leave everything default here, third-party repositories. I'll enable those. I'll skip the online accounts, keep this video short today. My full name is Steven, of course. Yeah, I'll give myself a nice password. I'll be careful not to lose it. Enter it once, and then entering it twice. Okay, I'll click next here, and we're all done. Start using risiOS. All right, so there's our GNOME 43 desktop environment. And so let's enable mirroring again. Keep changes. Okay, so there we go. I have to enter settings and mirroring. Large text and biggen the cursor size, make it bigger. So hopefully you guys can read things on the screen a little better. So yeah, with HDMI out, you need to mirror. You don't have a separate digital out on this laptop. That's okay. Capture card is still working, as you can see. So let's open up the terminal and let's check and see if the Wi-Fi power saving turn off for Wi-Fi is better. Okay, we skipped the first packet, but as you can see, it's all in the teens pretty much. All the packet round trip times are in the teens of milliseconds. So Wi-Fi off is much better in this particular laptop's case for the Intel AX211 card. All right, let's check the mount options here. That no access time and compress equals Z standard equals 1, SSD, space cache version 2. All that is great for a modern SSD. So the Sabre Rocket 4 will be much appreciative. Repo list, we've got, I think risiOS partners with OnlyOffice. That's the Office suite. risiOS is a Copper repo for risiOS. Okay, I also have a GitHub, so you can take a look at the source code if you like. So those are the repo list as installed. So let's upgrade the system, make sure the latest patches are installed with sudo dnf offline upgrade download. And, now that we have a properly configured network connection, this shouldn't take too long. So I'm going to creatively video edit this section so you guys don't get bored with me. Okay, it's done using the magic of video editing. So let's go ahead, offline upgrade, reboot. So make sure all the latest updates are installed before we continue on our adventure today. Here we go. All right, let's reopen Risi Welcome. Welcome to risiOS 37.1.1, the beautiful. Thank you for choosing. Welcome screen will guide you through the available resources and set up your computer to your likings. Okay, so first step, what I would do also with a vanilla Fedora install is enable RPM Fusion and some proprietary codecs. So as you can see, places Chromium with Chromium Free World, multimedia codecs, and RPM Fusion. Next, offers Tatum codecs. We'll leave that off. I don't use DVDs anymore, so we'll leave it off. Okay, I'll enter my password for authentication. And so the script automates RPM Fusion installation and enabling. In addition to installing a bunch of multimedia packages, as you can see here, and AppStream for the GNOME Software Center, for example. Script ran successfully. Good. So let's check our multimedia and video acceleration, because this is an AMD system. So Mesa has disabled H.264, and if I do a VA info, so we're running on Wayland, you can see there's no H.264 or any of the other codecs. VP9s, a lot of YouTube videos use VP9, but again, I like to have H.264 acceleration back, please. Fortunately, Fedora RPM Fusion provides the free world Mesa compilation, so you don't have to build it yourself. So let me type in on the Risi search, which is another collaboration, looks like, the RPM Fusion configuration, and double check and see how we can, so there it is. I'm going to click on the multimedia section here in the RPM Fusion site. So we're running hardware codecs with AMD Mesa. So let's swap the video acceleration drivers with the free world versions. So I just copy paste from that website. And so we're installing Mesa VA drivers free world and removing Mesa VA drivers. So that should bring us H.264 back, because I want my video acceleration and not burn up my battery. Keep the processor cool as well. It's energy saving. It's good for the environment, right? So VA info, and there we go. We have VC1, H.264, HEVC, and of course the aforementioned VP9. Good. So we're back in business with the free world. Running kernel 6.0.18 here, so it's part of the 6.0 series. Good. Let's enable FlatHub. I like FlatHub a lot. You may not, so don't have to install if you don't like it, but I like FlatHub. FlatHub has lots of good stuff there. Okay, and it's already done. We need to reboot to make the package managers recognize FlatHub, so let's do that. And we'll be back in a sec, and there we go. Very snappy machine, by the way. Okay, so first steps, so we've done that. Let's click add some themes. Now we have FlatHub enabled. So we've got some themes available for you here. Not too many. This is on the forums.risi.io site. Look at the forums a little more later. I'm not going to deal with themes today. You guys are bored with themes, right? Everybody knows what themes are. Let's stick with the default theme as installed. So extension manager is what I like to install. It's from FlatHub, so the flathub.org website, the unfiltered FlatHub, not the filtered Fedora one. And as you can see, there it is for the GNOME extension manager. Highly recommended. It's highly recommended by a lot of people, as you can see by the feedback score there. Okay, so let's open it up, launch it. So we've got, close that here, the GNOME Software Center. So we have no user extensions installed. We've got a background logo that's disabled. What is that? Where's GNOME and the rest? That's the Fedora background logo. Huh, if I turn it on, nothing happens. Look at the settings. Show for all backgrounds. Turn it on. Nothing happens. So the Fedora logo doesn't show up. So it's been disabled. That's why it's turned off by default. So why is that here? Recommend the development team. They remove this. Let's see if we can do this. Again, development team, if you hear this, I recommend removing that extension from the extension list. So sudo dnf remove Fedora logos. Enter the password. Oh, so it wants to uninstall a whole bunch of stuff that we don't want to do. So it looks like Fedora logos is alias to risiOS logos. Huh, from the risiOS repository. And then all the dependent packages, including risi settings, risiOS meta, and the plugins from the GNOME shell. Oh my word, that is something I do not want to do. So I'm going to type a big fat N for no here. I'm going to abort that. Yeah. Suggestion to the development team. Pretty please untangle the Fedora background logos from the rest of the system. Probably already planned, but just in case. Let's install another extension for this Lenovo Yoga, which is an IdeaPad. This enables conservation mode, you know, the saving your battery, which I have turned on here, etc., etc. Camera control, function lock, touchpad, turn off and on, USB charging. Very handy to have. So you can see conservation mode is turned on from a prior installation that I did. So as you can see, it limits it to 60% or just under 60% battery life. So if you leave it plugged in all the time, your laptop, you won't kill your battery by keeping it fully charged all the time. Lithium-ion does not like it, so 60% is great. And the battery life, by the way, in this laptop using risiOS is more than one day, like 10 hours or more. Anyway, so it offers some web apps that you can configure, or it offers a store, some featured web apps here, audio. So this launches Chromium Free World with these various configurations. And you can create your own. But this is very nice to have. This is a definite value add for risiOS. A lot of web apps that might be useful to you if you're too lazy like me to create your own. So productivity, a lot of things here. Video, including Netflix and Hulu. I guess if you're in the US, risiOS is based in Seattle, which is in my backyard. So go Seattle, right? Okay. Next, we look at customize risiOS with risi-tweaks. So this is risi-tweaks, which appears to be the GNOME tweaks amalgamated into it, into a bunch of risi utilities, including theming here. As you can see, very similar. So I turn on battery percentage here. Very similar to the GNOME tweaks +++. Yeah, you've got your mouse, profiles, touchpad, keyboard, Windows, how to handle focus, what to do when focused, raise or not, some title bar stuff. Yeah, pretty cool. So under extensions, you can manage your extensions here. That background logo is still there for the built-in extension. Again, development team recommend you just hide it or do something with it so that people don't want to mess with it. Brave installation, Chrome installation, Microsoft Edge, Opera, Vivaldi, all these browsers can be installed using the risi script, which we won't do today. Experimentally, the fsync kernel from Nobara is offered here. You can install the Nobara kernel. Don't do this. It may break your system. Only do this if you know what you're doing. I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm just going to leave this section here and move right along to quick setup. So we've got audio consumption, audio production, gaming, graphic design, productivity. So all these software groups or package groups that you can install. Let's install audio consumption, see how that works. So the dependencies, of course, are the full RPM Fusion. Repositories being enabled. Music player, Lollipop, no music, Rhythm Box. We'll leave it at Lollipop. Music Brain, Sound Converters, Sound Juicer, Audacity, and Easy Effects. Let's install those. So we're doing a DNF package installation. We need to enter our password. 41 packages. Let those install. Script ran successfully. So let's check out our new apps here. Let me go to the apps overview. So in addition to Extension Manager, you've got a bunch of audio here, Music Brains. Yeah. Okay. So that's how that works. Next, join the community section here. You've got Discord, forums. Let me launch that quickly. So we looked at forums earlier for the theming. So this is the general forum section here. Some conversations already. Here you go to support and troubleshooting. If you run into any issues with risiOS, you can ask for help here or share knowledge. Very handy. There's also a Reddit site that's been set up, the Reddit section here, risiOS. Oh yeah, they suggest a KDE flavor. Yeah, I would recommend it too. Would make it very different though. I think there would be a lot of work, but maybe risiOS will have a KDE flavor in the future. All right, Twitter, Instagram, we'll skip those. So, contribute to risiOS. risiOS store. So, if you feel like supporting this project, you want to see where this is going, as I do, you might consider buying a merch or doing a custom donation or a monthly donation, 10 bucks a month, kind of like Patreon, really. So yeah, if you feel like it, definitely support this young project. Kind of cool. A lot of work being done here. All right, contribute wallpapers. So this goes to the GitHub site. Risi Industries is the GitHub site, or you can contribute wallpapers there. Contribute code, that's a 404. It goes to risiOS. I think that's defunct. I think it's, so that's needs to be fixed, development team. Fix the link to contribute code and redirect it to Risi Industries, which apparently is your new repository site. So it's search, next generation Docker, search engine, and all that stuff. So the tweaks, scripts, if you want to see the source code, there it is. All right, moving right along. Let me open the terminal again. And let's make that nice and centered, more or less. So this is Risi Fetch, I think, right? Yeah, that's Risi Fetch. So you've got a Z shell pre-configured. You can change it to your liking. DNS history. So we've got an entire history here of configuration, what risiOS did for us. From upgrading the system to the multimedia drivers to installing the sound consumption group, audio consumption group, which is the 41 packages. So let's say I like to remove that package group. So I do a sudo dnf history undo 11, which is the ID for that audio package group that we did earlier. So that erases all these 41 packages. Let's do that. So this is very easy with Fedora and DNF and Fedora-based systems. You can roll back if you don't like a DNF operation. History is saved. You just roll it right back. Isn't that nice? So yeah, OpenOffice. This is with very sparse apps pre-installed. OnlyOffice is a collaborative effort, apparently. Anyway, DNF history shows we removed 41 packages. So that was successful. Cool, that's easy enough. Let's see, what else? Okay, sudo btrfs file system show. So as you can see, the file system bytes used is 6.8 gigs for the installed system. The entire drive, partition 3 for the Sabrent Rocket is 9 gigs used. So there you go. The Sabrent is not a full 512 gigs, it's 500 gigs. They do a little magic there to make things faster. Okay, so I haven't forgotten Timeshift, so let's do a sudo dnf install Timeshift and launch it and do our first configuration and snapshot. So it asks for my password. Btrfs is automatically detected because at and at home, the Ubuntu subvolume layout is there for a reason. That's partition 3, which is the Btrfs partition for the snapshot location, and default levels are good. Queue groups defaults are good, so setup is complete. Let's create our first snapshot, which is instantaneous with Btrfs. So let's mark it for posterity as the base system snapshot. And there we go. We've got the date and the comment to describe it. And there you go. Just can use Timeshift to roll back, cover all this in other videos and other YouTube channels. Very easy to fix your system. It's not a real backup, right? Anyway, neofetch, because risiFetch doesn't give me much information, so let me install neofetch. Let me type neofetch. And there you go, risiOS 37. The neofetch icon is not yet available for risiOS, so it's just the Linux tux. But here you go. Uh, this is a quick breeze through risiOS 37.1.1. risiOS definitely makes configuring Fedora easier to an extent. In this way, it's like Manjaro for Arch, or even Mint for Ubuntu or Debian. While I discovered some blemishes along the way, it's been running just fine on the Lenovo Yoga 6 for the last week, which means any Fedora spin with the shipped 6.0 kernel will work too. Thanks so much for watching, and like, subscribe, and comment. Until next time, have a lot of fun.